don't you stay a while and listen? Today I thought I would tell you something a little bit different. It's not a story per se, and it's kinda mythology, but it's also kind of a etymology, linguistic, historical lesson. Because I wanted to talk about the week. The weekdays, in fact. And where else do you start with a week except Monday? Now, almost all of the weekdays in English is from the Vikings, the Norse mythology. And Monday was once upon a time called Manidagir. And Mani is the moon god. And it is also theorized that the saying, man in the moon, is actually from Mani, from the Vikings. So Manidagir, the moon day, Monday. And the next day is, of course, Tuesday, which comes from Tyrsdagir, Tivasdagir. And that is, of course, named after the original ruler of the pantheon, Tivas, Tyrsdag, Tuesday. And Tyr, he was the god of war, law, and justice. He sacrificed his hand to Fenrir so the other gods could chain him down. Of course, he didn't stay chained down forever, since he got loose and Ragnarok happened and all that things. But the next day, Wednesday, is actually Odin's day. Now that might sound a little strange, since Odin, Wens, doesn't quite sound the same now, does it? But it makes sense if you know about Odin's other names, because he's had a lot of different names. And last I checked, he had around 144 different names. Most of them are just aspects of him, but one of his older names is Vutan or Vudan. Vudansdagir. Wednesday. The day of Odin. Now the next one is really, really easy, and you definitely know this one. Thursday. Donnerstag. Torsdagir. The day of Thor, the god of thunder. And all sorts of other shenanigans, of course. But you probably know all about that since you've listened to my other stories, right? Good. Now the next day is a little bit contested. Historians don't really agree on whose day it is. Some say it's Freya's day, some say it's Frey's day, and some say it's Frigg's day. Now the Old English version of Friday was Frigdager, the day of Frigge, which would suggest that it is the day of Frigg. But it is highly contested because in the Scandinavian languages, the name for Friday is Fredag and not Fridag. So it could be the day of Frey, it could be the day of Freya, or the day of Frigg. Now the next day is a little different, because that's not from the Vikings. Not in English. In English, it's Saturday, which is of course from the Roman god Saturnus, Saturn, the day of Saturn. However, in the Scandinavian languages, it is lördag. And it comes from the word laugir dagir. And laugir, that is a word that has evolved and survived into English today. Can anybody guess what it means? No? It means laundry. So Saturday was laundry day. It is the day they washed their clothes and themselves. And in fact, for their time, the Vikings were so clean and hygienic and liked to pamper themselves, combing their hair and beard and making themselves look good. And they did such a good job that in the 10th century, in the British Isles, there was a monk inciting violence against the Vikings because they were too groomed, too good smelling, that they were tempting their wives to infidelity. So we encouraged that they went to war against the Vikings and threw them out, just to keep their wives chaste and not succumb to the charm of the clean and pretty Vikings. Which I admit is a huge problem, of course. And then, of course, we come to the final day. Depending on how your calendar operates, of course. But it's Sunday. And it's called Sunnadagir. And Sunna is the sun goddess, riding across the heavens in their sun cart, destined to be eaten and swallowed by a son of Fenrir during Ragnarok. So there you have it. The days of the week, delivered directly from the Vikings. Except Saturday, of course, because the British, the Saxons and the Normans, and they didn't quite like getting washed, I guess. So a short one for today. But, as always, thank you for listening.